Hey, this is Paul Verkoven with Elk Spring Education, your place for financial and real estate know-how. And today we are doing an Elk Spring tidbit on the uber competitive real estate market we're seeing in many markets all across the country. So, the real estate market for the last few years has been this way, very tight inventory, very challenging market for many people who want to buy real estate. Multiple offers on homes, people not being able to find what they want, things selling before they can even go there to look, and frustration with folks, and just difficult markets, because there's more buyers than houses in many places. Your prices going up, multiple offers, paying over list, and so on. Anyway, while there are many people who are frustrated, not getting homes, and so on and so forth, there are folks who are doing just fine in this market, and in fact thriving and winning. And what we're going to talk about in this tidbit is some of the strategies the winners are using to do great in an uber competitive market. And let's dive in. So, one of the big things that we've noticed is that folks who are doing well in the competitive markets, number one, have adopted some tactics to beat competition. Like part of their approach to the market is tactical, where they've come up with ideas and ways that they're going to beat out other people who might want the same home. And the other thing is that generally the people who are successful are open to adopting new approaches to win. Like they're willing to take on new approaches and be creative to do what it takes to win. So today we're going to talk a little bit about what you can do with your lender and choosing a lender and working with the lender to win on a competitive real estate market situation. So why does the lender matter? A lot of people in the past, when they chose a lender, really what they might think about is, where do I get the best rate? Where do I get the lowest fees? And a loan's a loan. As long as I have a pre-approval, I'm good to go. And although that maybe used to be the case, what we're finding right now is that the choice of a lender can have a huge effect on your likelihood of winning. And I like to point out that because rates actually are very similar between lenders, when you're dealing with national market loans, there are differences, but they're usually not large. Really, choosing a lender, based on rate is probably a pretty poor way of doing it in this kind of market. And choosing a lender that actually can help you win makes a lot more sense, which I'll show you why here in just a moment. So, a couple things to know, there are lenders who do pre-approvals in different ways, but you might want to ask when you're talking to the lender, will they do a customized pre-approval? And by customized, what I mean is there are lenders, for example, who will just give you a pre-approval up to a certain dollar amount, and you're supposed to submit that with your offer. But there are other lenders who will do the pre-approval for each offer you write, and they'll address that seller directly. And they might speak even to that seller's situation. They might say more about your financial background. They might sell you to the seller in a pre-approval letter. And most of your competition is going to have just the plain vanilla, hey, I'm pre-approved up to X from their lender. If you find a lender who will actually customize the pre-approval, you can stand out. And a lot of what we've been seeing in this competitive market is that people are winning by a nose. You know what I mean? It's not that their offer is so incredibly different than the two or three others right behind it, but it's just this much better that gets theirs chosen. And so the lender can do a lot to sell you to the seller, to make the seller feel compelled to take your offer. And just saying that you're okay up to a certain dollar amount is pretty humdrum. It's sort of boring. But being able to talk about things in a customized way, directly to that seller, directly to the seller's agent, can make a huge difference. Here's another one. Can you find a lender who guarantees, will they guarantee the pre-approval? Okay, so there are lenders who will do things like guarantee the closing date, guarantee the commitment date, guarantee that the pre-approval is actually legit. There are lenders who put money behind that. I know of one lender in the Midwest who has a $10,000 guarantee on a pre-approval. And when one of her clients submits an offer to a seller, that's pretty compelling. If she's wrong, she has to pay 10 grand. So that may be a little extreme. Not every lender does that. But my point is, you can find lenders who will do these things. Customize a pre-approval, guarantee it, make it compelling. Here's another thing. Will your lender communicate with the listing agent? right? Not every lender will do that. The lenders that are helping their clients win, when you're making an offer, will pick up the phone and call the listing agent and say, hey, I'm working with this client. If you have any questions, call me. They're super qualified. We have, all their documents already. This is as good as done. Whatever the situation is, they'll call the listing agent. That makes huge, huge, huge differences. Finally, on this list of ideas, can the lender be blazing fast at getting a transaction done? Talking to a lender up front and saying, look, if I'm in competition, how fast can you get this done? Because there are many cases where speed will be the thing that wins by a nose. So for example, can an appraisal be done, in 5 days? Can the financing contingency be removed in a week? Can I close in 2 weeks? Whatever those things are. It's not always closing date, because some sellers don't need to close fast, but it is always about how fast an appraisal contingency and mortgage contingency can be removed. And choosing a lender who can do that 2 weeks faster than everyone else gives you a nose. So these are 4 ideas when you're choosing a lender to ask that are much more important than rate if you want to win in this market, right? Of course, the rate should be reasonable and in line with the market, but a lot of people lose right now because they go looking for the lender who has the rate that's an eighth lower than everyone else and doesn't do this stuff, and then they write 10 offers and still don't have a house. So you can choose to not be that person. Financialpro.info, you see it on your screen. When we're done with this tidbit, I'm going to ask you to go there real quick and leave 2 quick pieces of feedback. It'll take a few seconds. What I want to say is that when you go to financialpro.info, if you write the words "how to win" in one of the boxes there, I'll send you a report of all kinds of strategies that we've seen buyers using to be successful in this market. We're talking about a few of the lenders today, but this is pages long of things that people are doing to win. And if you just go to financialpro.info, when you do the feedback, type in "how to win" and we'll send that right out to you. So anyway, choosing a lender, super big strategy for success, and choosing one that will do things to help you win, not just give the lowest rate, right? Has a huge, huge impact in your chances of success. The other thing I want to talk about on the lending strategy is doing everything you can to help your lender. And one of the most important things you can do in that respect is having a complete set of financial documents to your lender at all times, so that whenever you find a home and need to move quickly on it, they have everything they need to process it quickly and get it done. So this means getting a list from them of everything they need and then keeping it updated. If you search in the market for a while, some of those things like pay stubs or bank statements become outdated. And so a thing you can do to help your lender is stay in touch with your lender and make sure that your list of documents is always up to date, so that if the perfect property comes up and you need to be able to do it quicker than anyone else, the lender's there and can make it happen for you. A final strategy on the lending front, and this is a great one for you, is to have perspective about what to offer and what it means for your budget. Obviously, if you offer more for a home, you probably need a bigger mortgage if you're doing financing, and that affects the monthly payment. A lot of people get stuck because they don't know what offering more than list might do, or if they get into competition, what it means if they have to suddenly go up 5 or 10 grand in price to win. And if you have perspective on that before you get into an offer, you will beat out a lot of people who hesitate, right? It's your ability to know where is okay to be quickly that will set you apart from the people you're competing against. So a great thing to do is ask your lender when they're running numbers, when they run numbers, okay, ask them to do one, say 10K greater than list, and maybe even one 25K greater than list, depending on your price range, okay? So that you can see, okay, if I pay X for this house, here's the payment. If I have to pay 25 grand more, here's the payment. Or 10 grand, whatever that range is in the market where you're looking. Get that from your lender up front when you're running numbers, when you're making plans about what price range to be in. Not when you suddenly find a home, you have to make decisions quickly, 10 other people want it, your buyer's agent's asking for highest and best, and you hesitate and lose, right? So financialpro.info, if you go there real quick, type in the words "how to win," we'll send you the full report, and that's our tidbit for today. Thanks for joining in.